Hey everybody, welcome to the Trans Files, and this is going to be a very special episode.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad. Okay. Let me just say this, okay, everyone. I guess a lot of people or some people know me as what I call craftivist. I do these kind of things, crocheting. I'm a writer too. So that is to say, if I had a choice, Noah, if I had a choice, I'll be like crocheting, sitting at my home, crocheting, berets, beanies, whatever, and having a great time, or writing poetry, beautiful things and having a great time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we have to talk about this shit. Okay, yeah, anyway.
Let's just put it this way. The shit that's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just going to say that whole bill is a garbage bill. It's vile. It's fucking vile, and honestly, we need to put a stop to this. We need to show people that we mean fucking business. Like, I am so pissed off. When I saw that released, I freaked out, and I started like getting sad for my child because this would affect her the most, and she's already struggling as it is.
Mm.
The whole name for that bill, honestly, is a joke. Save children. They are not saving children. They're going to mentally kill children.
Yeah, I mean, the title is by design, right? Because it
Mm-hmm.
actually does not only talk about children. So it's kind of like this whole languaging is inflammatory, and it's designed to make people afraid, get people on their side because it's so inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
And using children is like always very effective, but it really, I mean, we're gonna go into that, I guess, today, but it really covers the whole spectrum of things, and which is very, very scary. So,
Mm-hmm. Because there's already, like, on local levels, they're already making bills like this.
yep,
What was it, Alabama, is
yeah,
it, that
yeah,
they've
it
made
is, yeah.
basically being trans illegal, and if you try to transition, then you're going to get charged with the felony, and that's basically what is entitled in this bill. If anybody tries to get their kid to transition, you're going to get a felony.
Mm-hmm. And medical professionals, medical institutions that provide these services, can be tried, in a criminal court. So,
Mm-hmm. And it's funny though, because like in our ethics as healthcare professionals, it says that we are not to do any harm. We are put in a really tough position as professionals. Like, what the fuck are we going to tell our kids if this ever got into place, if this was ever in effect? And right now, it is scary, and it's possible that this could happen. There have been more like really extreme MAGA people getting elected into office now. So it very well could happen, and we need to prepare ourselves.
right. Let me just actually say two things about that, because I was gonna actually mention this like kind of later in the show, but I mean, why wait? So yeah, let me just say two things about that. So one, actually, I have the feeling, or I've actually heard people say that, well, the bill is very, very extreme and it's not going to pass. Well, they may be right. Okay, they may be right. I'll give you that. But the thing is, though, I think the bill is giving exposure to wrong things. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what worries me. It's actually kind of like a making this discussion legitimate, which is actually really not. Whatever in that, whatever is in that bill, it's not a legitimate discussion. I mean, it's a really appalling thing that they're trying to do. But
Mm-hmm.
this actually kind of gives legitimacy to discussion and visibility to to the points that they're making, and making people very, very afraid, for the wrong reasons, because they're actually manipulated to being afraid. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what I wanted to say, actually, the second thing I went on like on the first point, but second thing was actually right before this bill came into play or came into public awareness, I actually was reached out by a friend of mine who is conservative, but he is actually a very reasonable person, very well educated on political matters, but he actually wanted to have a discussion with me about things like gender affirming surgeries on minors, transgender women in sports, and transgender people using bathroom of their chosen gender. So these things and the points that he was making, or actually the references that he was making, were all these like sort of what we call propaganda, right-wing propaganda, and that really worried me. And next day this bill came out. So the scary thing is, people who we thought were crazy and yeah, I mean toughs, right? I mean crazy and crazy talk, but they managed. They somehow are being very very successful. Making people really fearful, like people in the middle who are not really characterized as not necessarily conservative or crazy. I mean you know what I'm saying? I mean
I think I do get what you're saying. But I mean, okay, but it doesn't help when you got like these big ass platforms. I do apologize. My kid wants to come in and says
Hi,
hi. Hi,
Faith.
Faith.
Hello, I'm just delivering mail.
Thank you.
Also, I need to grab a wood beer. Sorry.
Okay, well, my kid just wanted to grace us with her happy presence right now. But like
Hi
this,
to group.
Hi, Faith.
What, Midget?
let him stay in here. But anyways, but this is the thing that scares me. That happy child right there, that's gonna go away with these conversations that are going on. You got people out there spreading misinformation, especially when it comes to like the surgeries. Okay, there are not many trans youth that are getting surgeries right now. First of all, like the most that they're doing when it comes to transitioning is taking blockers and taking hormones. That's it. That's literally fucking it. Nobody is mutilating anything. I mean, my child, like for example, she says she wants the surgeries when she hits 18, which is fine. Because you also got to think too, physically, they're not all the way developed yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how can anybody have surgeries, period? You got people out there that are spreading misinformation about blockers, even. People are saying that when kids take the blocker, it's going to develop, like, what is it? What did they say? It's like, not brain cancer, but like brain damage or something like
I
that.
heard about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
Yeah.
If it causes any head pain, it's going to just give you a headache. That's it. That's literally it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
even
Okay.
got,
So
I
yeah.
was going to say, you even got other trans people that are even promoting this fucking garbage. I'm talking about people like Blair White, Buck Angel. They're the ones out there talking about how Lupron is dangerous for fucking teenagers and that we need to stop experimenting on children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. And I guess what I'm trying to say though is that so it's I'm actually talking about myself. So like all these months, I won't say years, months, I've been hearing these things like kind of propaganda talk, and I've been kind of like letting them go because I thought, well, crazy people talking, I don't have to deal with them. But I
Right.
feel like we let this go on for too long because okay, so about you know surgeries. So Boston Children's Hospital, has been a target of this fake news, right? I mean, people have been saying, and people have been saying that, oh, Boston Children's Hospital has what is it like? Has performed 56 surgeries to date,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and people are just like very incensed about it, and people believe that shit. And the doctors over there are getting like death threats and stuff like that. But that's a misinformation. But the thing is, so when people out there, people who we may know, people who maybe are friends, maybe they don't tell us, but they kind of have, they have heard about it and they have doubts about it. They have a fear about, fear that was triggered by these false information. And I think, we need to engage. We need to engage these people with actually, in their minds, legitimate concerns. And we need to tell them, well, there's nothing to worry about because that's a false information. And we need to do that based on our personal relationships. So that's kind of like, you know, where I am right now.
And like I've said, it only takes one fuck up to make a stigma. That's it. And you know how you repair stigma is you go out there and education. This is the thing that we're referencing about. These are uncomfortable conversations and we need to have them. Even if it's with people you may disagree with. If they refuse to listen, that's fine. Planting the seed is what is important. Because I find that, people, you also got to kind of look at the generational aspect too. Because we've talked about this before. In our generations, being trans was not discussed. Being non-binary was not being discussed. HRT surgeries, that shit was hardly discussed. But it's now become a conversation. And we need to have it. Plain and simple. And I think it's a really good time on this network to kind of explain, like, allyship. Okay? Allyship is important right now. This is the time that all of our allies need to be humbled and listen to each of us. Each of us are very unique. We have our own stories. Please demonstrate that by helping us combat this misinformation that's being spread out there. Leave your Karen entitlement syndrome at the fucking door and actually listen. Don't be going around saying that you're for trans rights, but yet engage in transphobic behavior. That's not an ally. And you know what? That's the thing with bigots, though. I would rather have somebody tell me flat out that they're a piece of crap, because then I know, okay, well, they're my enemy. They're not going to be willing to engage and listen. But the ones that are actually kind of like on the edge, that's where we need to target. Because bigots are going to be bigots. I know there has been a case where you can change it, but it's very slim. But education is important. I totally 100% agree with you, Sukaru. We need to combat this shit because, may I remind you, 25 trans lives have been lost this year. And I'm going to bet there is probably more, but they are not being talked about. We have said this multiple times. There's probably cases of trans lives that have been lost that probably died of suicide, but is anybody talking about them? No. We need to talk about the trans violence that's been occurring in each aspect. Each of it. We need to get more trans people sitting at the table. At the fucking table. Because this is the problem that I've experienced, at least in my field of mental health. There's hardly a lot of research when it comes to trans people and like in terms of like giving tools on how to approach them and being mindful of that cultural aspect. You wonder why? Because they don't have research to go on. There needs to be more of it so we can have more effective healthcare professionals. We need to make it safe for trans people to even go see a doctor. I mean, we're already struggling as it is as a community. Most of us don't have health care. So if this thing ever came into place, I mean, it's like all she wrote there. This is a sad state that we're living in right now. And I said this on TikTok the other day. If there is a time to be in the streets, it's fucking now. It's now. Because of the fact is, if we keep wasting time on petty bullshit arguments or conversations, nothing is ever going to get done. And as Misha said it perfectly, these people are just going to fucking win if we keep doing that. This is just a sad state that we're in. But we also wanted to kind of go over the bill just so that everybody, we're not going to really go all into depth with the bill because the language in it is kind of fucked up, but we are going to highlight some main points of this bill so everybody understands what's in it. Did you have a file down there, Sukaru? You're muted, Sukaru.
Yeah, I had a background noise, so I muted myself. So there are 4 points. I'm just saying MTG's bill because I don't want to say her name. So MTG's bill, if it passes, it would, number one, make it a felony to provide gender-affirming medical care, including puberty blockers and hormones to transgender youth under 18. Number two, it would prohibit using federal funds for gender-affirming healthcare, including in Affordable Healthcare Act plans. Number three, it would bar colleges and universities from offering instruction on gender-affirming care. In effect, I mean, there'll be no doctors who can prescribe gender-affirming care. So, number four, bar doctors that have provided gender-affirming care to a minor from receiving visas or being admitted to the United States. So these are, foreign doctors. If they have performed gender-affirming care to minors, they can't enter the United States. So it's a very, very extensive bill, as you can see.
It's a vile garbage one. Like, I will say it. That's the only name I'm going to call this bill. It's a vile garbage bill. It's just an abomination. We should not have to put up with this. I know that there's some exceptions in this bill, though. I think it's if there's already kind of like an existing problem, that it would be okay. But overall, this doesn't just affect trans youth; it affects us as well, as a whole.
Yeah. Because if if you are receiving care under federal funds, you basically cannot get it anymore, unless you're rich, I guess. But I mean, even that though. So I mean, number three, as I said, I mean, it would prohibit, higher education, institutions of higher education, from offering instruction on gender-affirming healthcare. So, I mean, there'll be no doctors who can perform that anymore if this passes.
Well, and not to mention, okay, so there's already discrimination in the healthcare field, right? Like there's already trans people that are already afraid to go to the doctor because they're afraid of getting discriminated against. Imagine what it's going to be like if they don't teach that shit to professionals. Nobody will want to go to the fucking doctor. That's not what we want.
Right. And again, though, okay, so I'm just kind of going back to, the thing about Boston Children's Hospital. So people are already getting threats, right? I mean, people,
Right.
medical professionals who provide care to transgender youth, they are being threatened. And I mean, that's actually very worrying. Not only, I mean, I fear for the safety of these, medical professionals, of course, first of all, but second of all, I mean, people may not want to do these. People may not want to provide the care anymore because they're afraid for their life, right? I mean, that's very worrisome. And I mean, I wanted to point out that, I mean, doesn't it sound familiar? I mean, doesn't it sound familiar to anyone? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
abortion clinics, right? Yeah. So what can I say? It's already happening. Medical professionals are getting threats, and that may discourage people from going into professions or position that they offer gender affirming healthcare.
I actually highlighted JT's comment there. They don't feel safe to go to the doctor. A little background on JT. I know JT wouldn't mind me sharing this, but JT lives in Texas. And do I have to remind people how much of a garbage state Texas is right now? They're trying to take kids away from parents, trans youth away from their parents, which is just, I just can't believe they're actually trying to do that shit. They're one of the states that are trying to ban this shit too. JT can't even be themselves authentically at all because it's not as safe in an affirming environment. I need to remind people though. I posted this on my TikTok actually, but I believe it's 59% of trans boys have considered suicide in this past year. 48% of trans girls have considered it. And I want to say it's 53% of non-binary youth have considered suicide in this past year. If this goes through, those numbers are going to go up. There's no stopping it. That's why this whole title of Saving the Children is garbage. Nobody really talks about the mental health aspects when it comes to being trans as a whole. I will tell you, even just for me personally, living my life for 30 some years before transitioning, it was fucking hell for me. It was hell. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It is the worst pain somebody can go through, not being able to live as yourself. I have honestly considered suicide during that time because I didn't know who I can go to. There are a lot of people that are alone right now. I also wanted to bring up an important stat that I actually did not actually bring up. I believe it was 48% of youth that were questioning, even just questioning, were considering suicide. That 48% or 43% of people that are even just exploring, that's scary to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly do not know. I just don't. People are just driving me insane, to be honest.
Yeah, apart from this bill, I mean, really, I guess, as someone who has been had been questioning for a very, very long time, people should be able to question, safely. And people should be allowed to question, especially, young people, because, I mean, okay, so I don't want this to be taken in the wrong way because these fuckers are gonna take it the wrong way. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna use whatever they can use. But so young people, frankly, are exploring, right? I mean, we all go through that. Like we want to find out who we are. That's what we
Mm-hmm.
do. Like when we are young. Um, so they should be allowed to, like for instance, if okay, so if you are biological male, but if you wanna, put on the makeup, if you wanna wear a skirt, you should be able to do that, safely, without
Mm-hmm.
getting shit. Um, Same thing as if you are biologically girl and you want to do, you want to oh, I mean, wearing pants is like no longer really dangerous or anything like that. But if you want to, present yourself masculine, or whatever, they should be able to do that safely, right? That's the bottom line, because these days, these young days are really, exist for that. So actually, it broke my mind, broke my heart when I heard about. So there's this group, or there's this organization called Transition Closet, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
do this wonderful thing. They provide, like, clothing, apparel items, accessories to youth, so that they can explore, right? So they started out in Arkansas, and things started to spread. So they opened a center, or a school, in Oakland, California, opened this transition closet within their school, and they got a lot of shit from parents, because some parents are saying that, oh, why are you providing my kids this thing, that, like, this thing, that they keep, so that they keep secrets from us. Well, the thing is, though, well, your kids won't tell you because they don't feel safe with you. You know?
Exactly. That's the whole contradiction in this fucking logic that they're saying. I hear it all the time. It's like they say, like, keep this shit out of our school. Let them explore for themselves. Well, how the fuck are they supposed to explore for themselves when you don't even know what the fuck it is? It needs to be taught in school. They need that safe and affirming space. And like you said, the reason why it's not to keep anybody, like, hidden from anything. I'm sure teachers would love to go and tell, like, the parents and celebrate this with them. But there are a lot of parents that are ignorant. I mean, back in the days, and unfortunately, it is not completely legal yet, but conversion therapy. That's
Yeah.
one. That's why people are afraid. That's why kids are afraid to go and talk to their parents. Conversion therapy is unethical. I mean, I know currently with the ACA and the APA, they're trying to get that banned because it does go against our ethics. I wanted to highlight this comment again from Brandy, and I left it up there for a reason. Lupron is not harmful. Anybody that tells you otherwise, please do not listen to them. It really, oh my God. I just hate when people spread misinformation about that. But yes, I wanted to go back to that, though, what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's
no, I'm
important
just
to have
saying
this
that,
vision.
it's just disheartening, because, like, why would you, I mean, I just can't wrap my head around it, because I'm a parent too. Why
Mhm.
wouldn't you want your kid have the freedom to explore themselves? Why wouldn't you? I don't get it.
Because they want to be authoritarian and they have Karen entitlement syndrome. They seem to think that they know best. They go on that theory that kids don't know anything and parents know it all. That's basically what's going on right now. They seem to think that they're basically, like, underestimating the kids. Kids are more capable of doing everything.
Yep.
That's why y'all need to listen to the kids. They know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yep.
And actually, let me see if it pulls up. Yep. As Brandy said, they ask survey questions on every refill. That's how you get feedback. That's how people know what the effects are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously. There is a process when it comes to trans youth and transitioning. It's not like doctors are just going to prescribe them Lupron or hormones just because.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go through a process. That's why they have mental health professionals there. I really personally don't like the fact that, like, being trans is in a sense considered a mental illness, because it is in the DSM-5. I hate that, honestly. I don't even know why it's in there. Well, I do know why it's in there. It's basically to justify for insurance companies for billing. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah. I mean,
don't
I just
take that
wanted to
as
point out, though, I mean, even for, like, grown-ups, So hormone treatment is like really actually, carefully monitored. I mean, it's not like, you can say like, okay, I want like this amount of hormone in me every week and you get it, like I actually, because, we have to get blood work done like every 3 to 4 months. And I
Yep.
actually, back in May, my testosterone level was kind of dangerously high. And,
Hmm.
like we have like a risk of blood clots and stuff like that. So my doctor actually reduced my prescription. So I mean, it's carefully monitored. So that's something I think people don't realize. People think like we can just walk in and get whatever we want. It doesn't work like that.
No. And I'm even with third party providers like Folks Health and Plume, like they do that shit too. It's not like they're just gonna let us die and give us hormones. Like you said, that's why they check our blood every 3 months, 3 to 4 months. They do that with trans youth too. They need to make sure that the hormones are not going to affect them dangerously. So I guess my thing is, what do we do from here though?
Okay. Before you go, well, okay. Actually, this conversation has something to do with that. I just wanted to show you guys another thing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it kind of relates to what you're saying though. So okay. So originally it had 14 co-sponsors, and now it has 16 co-sponsors. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want you everyone to pay attention, who is sponsoring this bill, because that's one of the things that we can do as a constituent. So I actually quickly made this slide today before I came on, about the current 16 co-sponsors. So the bill, okay, so I'm gonna say her name. I don't want to say her name, but I'll say it. Bill's introduced by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Uh, she is a representative of Georgia District 14, right? 14th District of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So um, if you are in a District 14, um, look into who is running against her. She needs to be replaced. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the demographics are like in the district, but it may be very red. But hey, you really have to try replacing her first of all. So if you are in Georgia, 14th district of Georgia, uh, think about that. What you can do. What can you do? To start a movement to replace her in November. Okay, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna go down the list of 16 co-sponsors, and please pay attention, like which district that they are in. So, Mary E. Miller, she's in Illinois, District 15th of Illinois. Jeff Duncan, South Carolina, 3rd District. Bob Good, Virginia, 5th District. Ralph Norman, let me see where he is. It's kind of hiding from me. Okay, hold on. Can you see? Because I can't
Yes.
see this district.
So which one are you on? Bob Good?
Ralph Norman, the bottom.
South Carolina 5.
Okay, great. South Carolina, District 5. Matt Gates, I wasn't surprised actually. Florida District 1. Tony Gonzalez, Texas District 23rd. Clay Higgins, Louisiana District 3rd. Burgess Owens, Utah District 4. Claudia Tenney, New York District 22nd. Andrew Clyde, Georgia District 9th. Diana, okay, now I can't.
Harshbarger.
Okay, Tennessee District 1. Lance Gooden, Texas District 5th. Lauren Bobart, Colorado District 3rd. Paul A. Gosa, Arizona District 4th. Jim Banks, Indiana District 3rd. Ronnie Jackson, Texas District 13. So these are the current co-sponsors. Potentially, it'll have more co-sponsors in the days and months to come. But please pay attention, and yeah, look for people who are running against them. And I'm not actually saying, so yeah, do not look into do not blindly vote for their opponent or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that, but um if you look very closely, actually, like, don't go only on this issue, because if you look at voting record of these co-sponsors, most likely you will see, and I'm actually not playing this like Republican versus Democrat game even, but like, when you see their voting record, you can see like what they've done to improve your life, and most likely they've done very little. So that's like really actually a strong argument if you are trying to get somebody else elected, right? So if newcomers are running in your district, and if their policies support making life better for us, I mean, of course vote, of course vote for them, right? Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, in the coming days and weeks, please pay attention. If you go to house.gov, you can look up this bill, and you can look up co-sponsors. Look at, pay attention to who are co-sponsoring this bill, and vote them out in November.
Right. I wanted to make a quick little announcement. We were having some YouTube difficulties. It was being a Karen, and it disabled my live chat, but I just went in there and fixed it. So if anybody is watching on YouTube, you should be able to comment now. So gotta love when technology does not want to work with me. But you know what? I'm not even surprised to see most of those names on there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz, I'm just going to say, honestly, he's got the most punchable face, and I really would like to punch him in the face. That's just me, though. And he just got reelected, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think we need to start putting pressure on these politicians as well. Like,
Yeah, actually, okay. So another thing, so I mentioned these co-sponsors, right? So these are the people who actively are supporting this bill. But what you can do, actually, write, call, email your representative, and demand that they do something, or they pledge to do something to block this bill.
Yep.
Make sure this bill doesn't go anywhere, and that's your representative. That's their job to represent your voice. So you may think when you're calling, you are just one person, but I mean, get your friends to call. If one person, two people, three people, 10, 20, 100 call, they get the message.
Yep.
Your call may be small, but get your friends together, and call these, call your representative.
Exactly. But combining that with action, too. That is why we are going to be holding a protest. Because we're going to show people we fucking mean business. It may not be very big, but as long as people show up and show, like, hey, we're not going anywhere, that makes much the difference. And right now we are currently organizing in 3 states, but we are open to getting more people to organize in their states. Did you want to go ahead and touch on that a little bit, Sukuru?
Actually, yes. So, oh, why is it blank? Okay, so, National Day of Action, October 1st, right? So, we put the call out. Okay, story behind this, actually. I'll give you a little bit of background. So, in LA, where I live, we were already planning an event on October 1st. It was actually kind of like a leftover from June, because in June we wanted to do an alternative pride in LA, and we were talking to organizations and individuals who may be interested in supporting it. But month of June, especially in cities, a city like LA, I mean, there are like events like almost every week, because it seems like every neighborhood has something going on like in that month. So in short, especially like organizations, I mean, they were really like overloaded, and they just didn't have any resources, any energy left to do anything. So we postponed it, and we decided to do October 1st, because October is LGBTQ history month. So there was this existing event being planned in LA. So when this bill was introduced, I had this thought that, well, it just should be a nationwide thing. So that's why we put a call out to everyone on Twitter and other social media. uh, National Day of Action, October 1st, 2022. So here's the thing. As Noah already mentioned, each event, and event can be anything, okay? Event can be anything. I know March is very intimidating because there are logistics involved, if you're gonna close the public street. So it doesn't have to be a march. It can be a what we call rally. Rally usually takes place in one place, one location, and usually involves like speakers and chanting and all that, right? That's like more kind of like a low stress thing. So but that is to say, uh the point is doing it, having multiple events in multiple states on the same day, so that we can be visible. And it doesn't even like individual event does not have to be big. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is kind of like trying to get rid of that kind of scare factor, because it's kind of intimidating, to host an event, but it can be very small, So kind of made a checklist here. Okay, what's Brandy saying? Oh,
She's
okay. I'm
trying to
trying
get
to get
people.
people from our trans community to lead a protest, but I will definitely help. Great, thank you, Brandy. Brandy is in Arkansas. So yeah, that's one of the states already, who there are enthusiastic people like Brandy, planning something. In Georgia, there are people out there too. So Georgia, California, Arkansas are the three states that I know for sure something is happening on October 1st. So what I wanted to do here, if you, anyone who is watching right now or in the future, if you have any, like, even a little bit of interest to do something on October 1st in your city, please do it. Please do it. And this is a checklist. Okay, set a time, like when on October 1st this event's gonna start and end. Okay, and starting time and ending time, very important. Set a location in your city. Where is it happening exactly, right? Name the protest. You can name it, whatever you want. I mean, the kind of all encompassing title is National Day of Action, but you can name it whatever you want, right? So name the protest, make a flyer. If you have friend who is very good at graphics, great. Solicit this person to make a flyer for you. Uh, Invite your friends. Can be 10, can be 20, can be 5. Doesn't matter. Um, Make a Facebook event page. I only say Facebook because it's free, and it's kind of a cheap way of keeping track of people who are interested, because they can sign up on Facebook. So yeah, um, if you want to be little bit more kind of resource intensive, get endorsement. That is to say, if you know any organizations, any groups in your city who may be interested in, yes, we will support this event, we will, endorse, like contact them and just simply ask, like, can we get your endorsement? It's as simple as that. Just explain what it is, what the purpose of it is, and ask, can we get your endorsement? Make signs, very important. Just be creative. Get whatever, get cardboard, get foam core, whatever, and make a sign. Make a banner if you have a little bit of budget, because being visible is very important, and it's kind of exciting to hold a big banner. So make a banner. If you are planning kind of biggish event, uh, make sure to contact National Lawyers Guild. You can Google National Lawyers Guild. There are local chapters, so, and request something called legal observers. Now, what legal observers do, they will observe and make sure, like, let's say, if police makes an arrest, God forbid, but they'll be there to observe nothing illegal happened, so that they can contest the arrest, right? And they can make sure you get out. Yeah. So this is very important if you are doing biggish event. Definitely in LA, we already requested legal observers, because we want to take every precaution. So yeah, National Lawyers Guild request legal observers. Issue a press release, maybe like a week or even two before, to send it to local media, so that they know, what's happening, and they may show up. And actually, as a matter of fact, if you are doing something in your local cities, please contact us so that we can make a list, and we can amplify through our social media and also like our website. Because if we get enough cities together, we would like to issue a national press release, so that we can get more attention, even like national media, right? So yeah, but anyway, issue a press release, and lastly, have fun.
Yes.
Have fun. You'll be surprised how exhilarating it is to be out there and be loud about your cause. It's actually a lot of fun, and it's very it can release your stress. If you're stressed out about this, it's the best way to do it. And okay, so another thing, okay, make sure everyone knows who is participating. Everyone who is participating knows that it's a peaceful protest.
Yep. I was
No,
about to say that.
yeah, make sure everyone knows. So
I wanted to highlight this comment, Sukaru, because JT had mentioned this. They want to do it, but they're afraid of safety. I want to say, I want to validate that. Like, I get that, especially like in deep red states like Texas and Alabama, like all those states. Like, I want to say, like, I validate it. Like, I understand. But that's why it's important to have community around you. Spread awareness. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever platform you decide to use, get a community behind you.
yeah.
And honestly, I would actually address this with JT. I would actually recommend going to like Dallas or Austin. I do know that those are LGBTQIA plus friendly places. Reach out to their LGBTQ center. Reach out to other LGBTQ centers. Because honestly, too, they need a wake up call as well. They definitely do. I can tell you, like here in Sacramento, like our LGBTQ center is really fucked up. It's full of drama. But they need a wake up call and realize like this is serious. They need to stand behind this. Reach out locally. I know this is scary. Like I remember when my first protest, I think well actually I went to that march for Medicare for all. I was honestly a little bit scared, but it really was exhilarating. Like there was plenty of people that showed up, but more people joined us as we were marching. When you see a group of people on the street, more people are going to want to join in. And I actually want to share my screen with you guys because another way to contact us. So on our webpage, which is transradicalactivistnetwork.org, go to our contact page, fill it out, and leave a message when it comes to the protesting. So that way we are kept in the loop where all this is going down, so we can issue a press release. So I recommend please email me. It'll go straight to my email. Please do so. I wanted to highlight Brandy's comment. There are places in Arkansas that isn't safe. In Fayetteville, we are good, and I've shared. Oh, your pride is getting shared there, Sukaru.
Great. Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Brandy. So yeah, I actually wanted to comment or echo what Noah said. Yes, I do understand, and I am aware there are places in this country that is not safe for trans people, and I actually, yeah, okay. So use caution, right? Use caution. That is to say that, yeah, I mean, even if I say, yeah, okay, make a sign, go out there. Do not go out there if you don't feel safe, because your
Exactly.
safety is the most important thing. 100%. Do not go out there. But there are ways that you can support. Things like social media. JT does that. Thank you so much. You can do whatever you can do. I think, thank God for the technology. These days, there are ways that you can support the cause, you can help. Okay, so things that I previously said, yeah, okay, so protests are kind of, fun to do, but yeah, contacting your representatives, that's activism too. That's valid,
Mhm.
and that actually can be fun too, depending on the way you do it. So, yeah. So, but anyway, what I wanted to say is like, yeah, use your caution. And I mean, yeah, I was looking at Noah's TikTok, posts, because there are a lot of comments there, and a lot of people are asking like where protests are taking place. So yeah, if you can travel to LA, if you want to travel to LA, you guys are welcome. Like from anywhere in the country, uh, LA welcomes you. I welcome you. So, but yeah. Anyway,
Like you said, like it can be easily a social media.
yeah.
For anybody that's like a hardcore TikTok user and does not feel safe going out in the streets, you can demonstrate action that way, because social media has become a powerful force in today's society. That is, though, you still have to be careful, because most of these social media platforms are performative. TikTok is definitely one of them, but you can still get your message out there. I only say that because I tried to make a TikTok earlier, and basically TikTok decided to tone police me and put my account in warning status. So I kind of got to be careful. So I definitely can't do too much social medium activism, but I'm planning on going to LA and meeting up with you, Sukuru.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've been to SoCal anyway. Perfect opportunity. I'm just going to make sure I leave early so I can beat that traffic, because LA traffic sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yep.
It's very unfortunate. But I also want to emphasize, too, everybody is struggling right now. So mutual aid is necessary right now for many of our trans siblings. If there are some that are struggling, and like you legit, if you see it as legit, because I know that there's a lot of people that do scam, but please donate what you can to the many trans lives that are struggling right now. That is important. First off, I wanted to make that clear.
Yep.
Many of us are suffering from the effects of capitalism right now. Fuck capitalism. I'm just going to say that right there.
And there's like very something very sinister about this bill. I mean, okay, the contents are really horrible, to begin with, but the timing of the bill and bills like this. And I was actually talking about this like with other friends, other activist friend of mine, but not about this bill. But okay, here's the thing. So as you said, Noah, many people are struggling right now, right? I mean, people are thinking about, they may lose their house. They can't eat. They can't put food on the table. They can't pay for the gas. These are, people's concerns. And people are trying to survive, right? So that is to say, their attention is focused on that. And they may not be able to worry about other things or protest about other things, right? So bills like this, I think it's very intentional. It's coming right now because people's attention is elsewhere. People may, even like people with good intention and good heart, may not be able to protest against these things, because they're trying to survive. And I understand it. I come from like anti-nuclear world, anti-nuclear activism. Anti-nuclear activism right now is spread very thin because again, people really actually are not talking about nuclear. People talking about food on the table. People talking about housing. People talking about high price of gas, right? And that's what they're worried about. So I think it's very sinister that they're introducing these bills right now because they're trying to hit us, when nobody or when very few people can spare any time or resources, actively working on these on fighting these bills.
Right. But I thought like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, I'm sorry, I did not mean to say her
That's
name.
okay. Yeah.
But didn't she just like keep her seat recently though?
There's
That's what I
somebody.
thought. Like I thought she already had kept her seat.
No, there's somebody running against her. Oh God, what's his name? Yeah, and he issued a statement already. Just spoke out against this bill. So
I want to share something. Speaking of MTG, I actually saw this tweet today, and I swear to God, I just wanted to fucking cry today. So like, okay, so speaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, so apparently, so it started like this. So she posted a little tweet here. I guess she got swatted after 1 a.m. But yet she's praising the law enforcement. So the tweet says, let me go back up. 911 received a call from the suspect claiming responsibility for the incident and explaining his or her motives. They explained they were upset about Miss Green's stance on transgender youth rights and stated that they were trying to swat her. And she actually responded with this. If this is the war the left wants, this is the war the left will get. I will never stop protecting children and defending their innocence. We have to immediately pass H.R. 8731, the Protect Children's Innocent Act, to end the mutilation of kids.
See the inflammatory language that she uses, though, which is like totally unnecessary and false. But that's the thing, though. I mean, sadly, most people, or a lot of people, will not look into it. So that's why it's this time and age became very dangerous for a lot of people because people like first of all, people don't read, right? I mean, they get
let's just be real. People don't read, or if they do read, they do it very selectively, and they do that with they do that with listening too. It's selective reading and listening, and honestly, it's one of my biggest fucking pet peeves ever. Like ever. I hate when people do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, it's worrisome that people just see the headline or see the tweet, and then like they feel like they understood everything. So, this language that she's using, somebody or a lot of people are taking it at the face value, right? Mutilation of children, chemical castration, all these languages, all these words that she's using.
Mm-hmm. And like Brandy said, she really isn't okay. I don't know what kind of fucking shit Marjorie Taylor Greene is on, but she really isn't okay.
Well, see, somebody said it, and I think it's true. That woman does and says anything to get a headline, you know, and that's another thing that I think. I was like talking about this like earlier with Noah, and in another recording, the recording of another show, but I think she mostly does it to get attention and get points, earn points for herself. And transgender people are frankly easy target. You know,
Yes, we are an easy target. We're vulnerable.
mm-hmm.
Like I said, trans violence has gone on the rise. May I remind you, 57 people lost their lives last year due to fucking transphobia and ignorance. See, like, this is the thing. Yes, MTG is a attention seeker. But if you kind of look at the situation, like I kind of see her like what, like to your point, like face value. But it mocks similarities with J.K. Rowling too, because J.K. Rowling does the same damn thing. But the thing is, it's how it influences the audience. That's what's scary. Because anytime J.K. Rowling makes a post that's anti-trans, she has her turfs basically like in hives trying to suspend our accounts and harassing us. They actually promote trans violence. That's what's scary. So even if Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing this out just because she wants fucking headlines, it's going to cause us damage anyway. There are hateful fucking bigots. And you know what? When it comes to that Boston hospital, you got to thank the libs of TikTok on that one. I cannot stand that bitch. And I'm sorry for saying that, but I can't stand her. She was the one that actually got people to call and make threats to that hospital. Libs of TikTok is a dangerous platform too. And also the magical G word. The gays against the magical G word. I don't even want to say the name. They are another one as well. They manipulate things. They take little clips that don't even share the whole story. They only want to take the ones that are going to trigger you.
Mm-hmm.
But any reasonable, sane person, if they actually go and watch the clip or, watch the whole bit and or more or less like actually read, I mean, come on. Nobody would be taking them seriously. But like you said, that's the problem in this country. Most people don't want to fucking read.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to read. They don't want to listen.
And yeah, you're absolutely right, Noah. So the damage is, even though the sources may not be legitimate or even serious, whatever, but the damage, is great. So the thing is though, so kind of like going back to the original point that I was making, remember like we talked about the New York Times opinion piece?
Yep.
About maybe more than a little bit more than a month ago. So that kind of thing, that actually was kind of like it should have been a warning, I feel like, because that's kind of the example of, they are legitimatizing this conversation, so I was worried, when the opinion piece came out, because I know for a fact, by my association, by my private, personal association, that a lot of people, a lot of people who, a lot of self-respecting people who consider themselves very intelligent and well-read, read New York Times, and they love what New York Times says. They kind of take it at the face value, right? They like to take it and they like to speak of it, as if it's their opinion, right? So when that opinion piece came out, and people like Betty Midler, tweeted about it, and seriously alarmed by it. So the thing is, like, right now, people who may not be characterized necessarily as TERFs are buying into this argument. So that's what's dangerous, though. So I mean, that's why shows like this are very important. That's why inviting your friends, acquaintances to a conversation is important. Because if you have a personal relationship already, uh, I don't know. You may be able to make them listen. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, yeah. But I just wanted to say about the protest, and not only protest, but so I feel very strongly, and I will try to um, make a point about this, and I don't know if I can be very eloquent about this, but this is really, comes from my heart and comes from my feeling. So it's very important right now. Two things. It's very important right now, like Noah said, uh, our allies show up for
Mm-hmm.
us. It's very important because we can't, and we meaning trans people, gender non-conforming people, we cannot fight this fight alone. We need you, our allies. It's like now or never.
Yep.
We need you right now to show up with us, to stand for us, and protest with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, by the same token, I just wanted to say that, to my trans siblings, that you may be scared right now, you may feel alone, but we are not alone. You are not alone. And actually, we have to be presenting this issue not just as trans issue, because it's actually issue for everyone. It's about the freedom. It's about the right, our right to live our life freely and in a fulfilled way. It's about healthcare. It's not only about trans healthcare, it's about healthcare for everyone. So,
Exactly.
we have to be proud. We have to kind of like, we have to be straightforward. We have to be loud about presenting this as, not only our issue but for everyone's issue, and we will fight with everyone, for all, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
the point I wanted to make, tonight. Just do not be afraid, because I know that, like, for, I'll speak for myself. There's always in the back of our minds, because we've been so oppressed, that, oh, maybe we shouldn't be asking for special things. It's not a special thing. We are
It's not.
actually asking for fundamental right as a human being. So, let's be courageous. Let's be loud about it, and let's just get our allies together and fight for our rights.
Thank you for saying that. Honestly, yeah, you got to remember the trans. Yes, there is a lot of people in the trans community. It's like what, like over 1 million people in the United States that are trans, but we're still very marginalized. We don't have a lot of space. That's why we need our allies. We need our cis allies. If there's some that are just like don't understand, help them understand. Let them know that, hey, even though you're truly not going to understand me, just please respect me. I am a human being. We are human beings and we deserve those fundamental rights. And for fuck's sakes, do not listen to TERFs. I actually just got into an argument with the TERF earlier today saying that this wasn't all a trans issue, it's a woman's issue. And yeah, please do not listen to that type of vile garbage. This is for everyone. Everyone. Healthcare is a basic fundamental right. Everybody is entitled to it. We need this shit. We are not walking price tags at all.
I love you too, Brandy.
We both love you.
Yeah.
Even though my internet's been lagging today, we both love you.
Actually, okay. Sorry. I was kind of like, doing this like climax kind of thing. But can I say one more thing though? I forgot. I almost forgot. This is important. I don't know why I thought about it now, but I was gonna say this. Okay, so there's this argument. Because I was watching the news that Jimmy, our friend Jimmy, and Daniel trans guy, my friend, and they did the news show yesterday, and they were while they were doing their show, there was somebody in the chat, kind of like offering counter argument, and it actually was a very good discussion. He was going on and on about it, but I mean, I have to give him credit. What some of the things he said, yeah, I mean, I heard about these concerns before. So one of the concerns that gets kind of brought up all the time is um so all these things, there's an assertion like hormones and surgeries are kind of like a given out too easily, right? Because statistics wise, yeah, cases of surgeries are increasing, probably like prescriptions of like hormones, maybe definitely they are increasing as well because more trans people coming up. So people make assertions like, well, these hormones are controlled substances, they shouldn't be given out that easily, right? Okay, here's the things that I want to say. That while that may be true, like people talk about ADHD medicine, right? For instance, because some people say, okay, they are given out too easily. That may be the case. However, that argument is actually should be reserved for it's a matter of administration, how it's administered. Shouldn't be about the issue of trans rights. Okay, it's a separate issue. So people say, oh, these doctors, medical institutions, they do that for profit. Well, again, very important argument, but it's a different argument. That argument has to be reserved for how we have to get rid of profit motive from healthcare in this country. It's a different argument, very important but different argument. So that should not be mixed with discussion of trans rights. Our rights should not be taken away for that. If you see issues with how these drugs or procedures are administered, well, then let's talk about how it's administered. Let's talk about profit motive in healthcare in this country, because that's where the issues are coming from. Let's not attack us. We shouldn't be attacked for that. So.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to highlight this comment too about MTG's bill. This isn't not just a trans issue. Vasectomies are going to be banned on this fucking bill if it passes. Honestly, I know we kind of talked about this in an earlier episode we were recording, Sukuru, but I mean, if even with women's rights, if they want to take the autonomy away from a woman, we should take it away from a man if that's the case. We have a big fucking ego problem in this society. A big one. I mean, now is the important time that we need to start using our voice. I know most of us have been scared We've been basically like told, like, hey, you guys need to shut the fuck up and not say anything. Your issues are not important. Human life, that whole discussion is important. Doesn't matter if you're trans, cis, whatever. It's an issue that we discuss. Human life is valuable. It can go away in just a second. You never know when your time is going to be up. That's why using your voice is critical. Do not listen to people like Matt Walsh. I actually saw a tweet of his the other day. I was actually going to go find it real quick, but he basically was saying that we're going to conquer like this gender ideology cult or something like that. It's just like, the fuck. Discussing about gender is not a cult, okay? Please get that shit out of your head. I mean, I am so sick and tired of people saying that discussing about gender identity is a cult. And I'm actually going to quote you, Sukuru, because I remember when we were, I think it was like the very first episode of the Trans Files, I think, we were discussing about the Don't Say Gay bill. Or it may have been another episode. You don't want us to talk about gender identity. That means we can't talk about you either. You cannot talk about yourselves at all.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that we can't talk about being trans, that means you cannot talk about being cis.
No, we can't use he, she. We can't
Yeah.
use husband and wife. You can't use mother, father. Like anything, any words that signify gender.
Yep.
Gender conversation should be banned altogether. Then
I mean, obviously, if that's what the way that they want to do it, yeah.
yeah, because they don't like gender ideology, right?
Yes, they seem to think it's an agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that gender ideology because, God, that's a stupid word. But hey, if they want to call it that, okay, so let's not, yeah, we should ban any kind of gender related conversation then.
I mean, I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen because I got to share this because it's fucked up. So just so you know that what conversations are taking place, this is why it's dangerous. So even with the thought of this, so I'm going to go through Matt Walsh's page. I can't see this tweet, but basically he's making a joke about that. You have pronouns in your bio. So what? What's the big deal? It's called being respectful.
Yeah.
It's called being respectful. Who does that shit? Just do not listen to him. I'm actually trying to find the tweet real quick with the gender conversation. So if you want to go ahead and discuss something real quick while I find it, that'd be great. Because the comments, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, see, no, okay. So, yeah, Brandy's saying everyone's they, them. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that too, but I guess you know me already. So, but no.
I found it.
Oh, okay, you got it. All right.
I found something, not the actual tweet itself, but this is what we're talking about. This. Matt Walsh people like Matt Walsh lives at TikTok. They're spreading vile garbage. So he's saying that Lupron is a cancer drug used off-label to castrate children.
What?
There are 0 long-term studies on the effects of this drug when used this way. This is medical experimentation being carried out on a generation of children. Libs of TikTok. So apparently, they said STL Children's promotes Lupron as a puberty blocker for kids. Lupron is linked to thousands of deaths and has been used to chemically castrate sex offenders. They also don't notify patients through their site that puberty blockers are not FDA approved to treat trans kids. This is all misinformation. You got me fucked up. See, this is why I cannot stand the libs of TikTok. They piss me off. piss me off with this shit. Go ahead, Sukaru.
No, I don't know. I don't have any words. See, I mean, Brandy. It's not a
Like,
cancel
this is
tag.
just insane. Fucking
Um,
insane.
But again, like, here's the thing. I mean, okay. I mean, I can't be like worried to death about this because, like, if I'm like worried about it too much, I'll lose my sleep and I'll be dead. But anyway, like
No, we
like
don't want
last
that
few
happening
days,
now.
But yeah, okay. So there are people like who take this as at face value, though, right? So that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to change these people, but I mean, yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, see, I don't know. I wanted to share this. I'm actually just going to go on my Twitter because I wanted to highlight that comment to you, Sukaru, because you got this comment on your post. So,
Okay.
this. Yes, but women's rights are not subservient to trans right. Read the fine print before you join the gender cult. Response for that, Sukaru? This was on your post.
Okay.
That's
So
insane.
women's rights are not subservient to trans rights. Okay, where does this person get that anyways though?
So if you want me to, I could show you the thread. I blocked this person, but I could still see the tweets because I actually tagged them in innocence. So let me see if I can pull up the actual thread so you could see it, hopefully. So, okay. I gotta love Laura, by the way. She's amazing.
Yep.
So this is where they're getting their information. So they're saying ever since gender self-ID became the law in Canada, convicted male sex offenders have been getting transfers to female prisons. Women are now being raped by intact male convicted rapists in Canadian prisons for women. The media won't publish these stories for fear of being accused of transphobia. Currently equals anything short of fawning submission, but sometimes they let the truth out. So they're trying to say, and why not? Women's prisons are typically easier time with substantially more freedom, and most of the inmates are doing drug sentences and aren't violent. Some have kids, little girls. And I don't even want to read the rest of it because it's garbage. That's their justification for that comment.
Yeah. Okay. So that really actually, I mean, okay. So we'll be talking about this like till we are very, very tired and like plastered. But no,
I'm not saying that to be
that's my thing because yeah, I hate to say it. Okay. So right now, if you go to like platforms like YouTube, let's say, and if you search, if you use search word transgender or whatever, trans, whatever, I bet 90% of stuff that you get in the top searches are negative. It's all these like propaganda stuff, right? But I mean that's like 80-90% of the things that you see on the page one top search. Okay, so that's what worries me though. Whoever we are fighting with, whoever we are fighting against knows how to manipulate information and how to scare people so that they are motivated to speak out against us or motivated to go to such an extent to ban transgender. It's like they don't want us to be transgender anymore.
Okay, I actually found the actual tweet now. Now I will pull it up. This is the last time I will do it because I found the tweet. Okay, I had to go searching through my Twitter real quick to find it, but I found it. This one. We are going to beat gender ideology. I am not optimistic about very many things, but this is a fight we can win, and we will. Look at the comments on this shit. I mean, this is insane. Some of them defend it, but then there's some that actually simp for it. Apparently, people are, they seem to think that this is an agenda. This is not an agenda. The quote tweets on this, I won't even actually expose those because the quote tweets are actually disgusting. Like most of the people in the quote tweets are talking about, yes, let's do it, let's beat it, let's win, let's accomplish this. I just want to know. I mean, if it's an agenda, I mean, I honestly am out of the loop because I didn't realize this was an agenda. I actually want to highlight this real quick before we get ready to close. As Brandy says eloquently, all rights are supposed to be equal. Trans, cis, female, male, non-binary, whatever. All rights are equal. That's how it should be. That's how society should be. There should not be a dominant person. I know I'm a guy, but honestly, most of us guys need to take a fucking back seat, put our egos away, acknowledge women. They are strong. Don't put them in the back seat. Again, like I said, human life is valuable. And actually, since we're getting close to a close, I just want to go ahead and just go dive into the closing. Trans rights are human rights. We are not a separate species. We are human beings. We eat just like you do. We use the bathroom just like you do. We are all the same. By sitting there and trying to eliminate us, I mean, it is scary. But I mean, if you really want to kind of use your own logic, that means you have to be erased too. Plain and simple. Use your voice. To all my trans siblings out there, everybody in the LGBTQIA+, this is the time that we need to be rising. If this is the time to bring back that message, we're here, we're queer, we're not fucking going anywhere. Now is the time to be fucking doing that. I'm sorry, I'm swearing, but this is an issue I am very passionate about. I am scared for the many trans youth right now. Seeing those stats scares me. All these kids that are experiencing anxiety, depression, and if I remember correctly, 93% of trans youth are already worried about getting access to this shit. When they don't, more of them are going to die. These conservatives out there that are saying that they're for pro-life, they are not pro-life. They're against it. Anybody that's saying that, in my opinion, are anti-human. That is not anti-human behavior. If you really give a fuck about the children, let them be themselves and let them explore. That is actually a benefit of being on a puberty blocker. It puts you in pause. Because sometimes you just need that time to explore. Before my daughter actually started hormones, she was on the blocker for a good 6 months to a year before she started hormones. Just to like make sure. And that's another thing. Parents, please keep that space open for your children. If they have questions, feel free to try to answer them. Take them to a place where they can get resources. Get the right information. Don't listen to this garbage that's online. It gives you time. Please be patient with your kids. And to my trans LGBTQIA+ siblings, please stay safe. Take care of yourselves. As I always say, use hate as a motivator to keep fighting. If you receive it, do not be afraid of it. Most of the hate that we receive, it's the same record playing. Just remember that. No, these people are lacking creativity. I just had to put that out there because a lot of the hate that we get, they lack creativity in their insults. Don't pay attention to the insults. Continue to hold people accountable to account. like you said earlier, Sukuru, please be in these politicians' faces. Write letters. Blow them the fuck up. Be in the street. Let's demonstrate solidarity with everyone in the LGBTQIA+. Enough with this fucking division right now. All of our rights are in jeopardy. Use your voice. Because honestly, if you keep engaging in this division, we're all going to disintegrate, and that's going to be the demise. I have stated this many times, especially when it comes to the TERF movement. If we do not put a stop to it, it's going to be our demise. We can advocate for women's rights, of course, but the TERF movement needs to be stopped. If you kind of look at the overall dynamic, this bill that Marjorie Taylor Greene is proposing has TERF written all over it. It's TERF written all over it because this is exactly what they want. We need to stop this. Don't really engage with TERFs, though. I will put that PSA out there because TERFs, they will never have a realistic conversation. You can plant a seed, but, they are dangerous. Just report their accounts. Report their accounts. For misinformation, violence, whatever the context is, please report it. Hold on, I wanted to highlight this, if I can get it up. Okay. We all go down because they divide us. Exactly. As you stated on the last episode, I think it was the last episode, Sukuru, you said division is by design. Mm-hmm. It is a way for them to have control over us. Don't let it. If that is one thing that is going on in society is division. They want us divided. Because that's how they can get control for us. That's how they scare us. Is by keeping us divided. Obviously, if people are going to be hateful and they're refusing to learn, they have no place in this movement. If people are willing to be humble, allow them in. If cis people make a mistake, don't get all crazy on them. Be patient with them. They're learning too. Because as we've stated many times, being trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, these have just been recent things that have been coming. This hasn't been talked about in previous generations. Please be patient. Please do not, again, and I want to highlight this very, very much. Please do not be afraid to engage in uncomfortable conversations because they must be had. You do not, as a human being, you do not have to accept crumbs. Yes, they may be nice, but everyone deserves a piece of the pie. They deserve the pie. We do not deserve crumbs. We need liberation for all of us. I know I had to go on that little thing there, but Suguru, do you have anything in closing with that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. And okay, so I have this little philosophy that I live by, which is so there are things that you can and you cannot control, right? And I'm not saying like give up on things. I'm actually saying that there are literally things that you can't control. Okay, for instance, I was kind of worried about these people, kind of few minutes ago, right? I can't really do anything about these people, okay? I can't control them. They just do what they do. They do what they say. I can't control them. What I can control what I do. I can control what I think to some extent, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what's important right now. So do not worry about what other people do or what other people say. although it's very hard because it will affect us, but don't lose your sleep over it like I did for 3 days, but don't do it. Instead, do what you can. Use every toolbox that you got to resist this because it's time. It's time for us. It's now or never. And also, I'm just gonna repeat myself, what I said like in the middle of this program. Be loud and proud because there's nothing selfish about selfish for us, about talking about our rights, because it's not only about transgender rights, it's about human rights. It's not only about trans healthcare, it's about healthcare for all. So let's be proud. Let's raise our head, raise our voice, stand tall, and stand up for ourselves.
Yep, I agree with that. This world may be depressing, but you, as an individual, have a choice at the end of the day if we live in depression. Don't wallow in depression. Use that as a motivator. Nobody likes to be depressed, first of all, but we have the power to change that. We all have the power. The question is, how motivated are you? Human rights are human rights. Like you said, Sukaru, this isn't just a trans issue. This is a human rights issue. Do you think any of us really like having to report how many trans lives have been lost? No. But it has to be talked about. It's sad and depressing, but we need to give them a voice, even though they are not with us anymore. They need a voice. So, that being said, down at the bottom, please share, like, and subscribe. Let's try to build this together because we will not be silent. We refuse to be silent. If you want to be in the streets, let's be in the streets. Let's bring awareness to this. As a community, we need to say enough is enough. No more of this bullshit. But we will be seeing you guys next Wednesday, and we are actually going to be talking about the intersex community. So please check in next week, and please look out for our newest episode of Up Close and Personal, which is going to be airing Friday, where we had the pleasure of interviewing Jimmy Sunderland. So please check that out when that comes. We're going to be on Spotify, Anchor, Amazon, Google, Apple. Please check us out. But everybody, please stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.